All right, let's jump right into this fascinating explainer. We're looking at something today that completely flips how we normally think about the spoken word. We usually think of words just as a way to share ideas or communicate. But the source material we are exploring today shifts that perspective entirely. It reframes the spoken word from mere communication into raw physical energy.
The source material kicks off with a pretty bold premise. The words we speak actually generate an incredible level of energy that can be harnessed scientifically. It argues that sound is a highly refined form of physical energy, operating on the exact same level as electricity, steam, or even atomic power. So it's not just some invisible vibration in the air. It's an active, powerful force that interacts with the physical world around us in ways we are honestly only just beginning to understand.
We've got a lot of ground to cover today, so here is our quick agenda. 1. The energy of sound. 2. Healing and the mind. 3. Ancient mantra science. 4. Eternal space words. 5. Sonic tech and weapons. And finally, 6. The lost legacy. Let's get right into it.
Okay, Section 1. The energy of sound and its physical impacts. To show the tangible, real-world impact sound has, the text brings up some really interesting examples to illustrate his point about manipulating physical bodies. According to the source, dairy farmers over in Holland and Denmark have successfully used specific sound frequencies, like playing certain gramophone records, to directly affect the nervous systems of cows, which literally stimulates their milk glands to produce more milk. The text then parallels this with snake charmers, who use music to draw out venomous snakes, making them so absorbed in the sound that they're easily captured. It even points to ancient hunters, who use sweet melodies to quite literally freeze deer right in their tracks, completely mesmerizing them into standing still. Moving right along to Section 2, Healing and the Mind and Curing with Sound.
Now, if sound can physically alter animal behavior, the source argues it can absolutely be utilized against human ailments. Notice how the text bridges two seemingly totally different worlds here. On one side, you have rural Indian sound healing, where villagers beat a bronze plate resting on an inverted clay pot to create a very specific acoustic wave. The source claims this exact vibration has been observed curing severe ailments like goiter, treating snake bites, and even calming states of mania. And then on the other side, the text points to modern American psychology, where doctors are successfully using light music to treat patients with severe insomnia and nervous system disorders. The text argues that the underlying mechanism in both cases is exactly the same: targeted, physical sound energy. Taking this medical application a step further, the source points out that scientists are actively using structured sound waves to develop the neurological pathways of unborn babies. By playing specific musical instruments to pregnant mothers, researchers are reportedly seeing some highly promising results in the mental and nervous system development of the fetus. So the idea here is that sound energy can literally be a foundational building block for human biology, working its magic before we even take our first breath.
That brings us to Section 3, Ancient Mantra Science, viewing sound as hard science.
This leads to a truly stunning historical claim. The text basically asks us to completely shift our perspective on ancient history. It argues that we shouldn't just view ancient ashrams as quiet spiritual centers, but rather as highly systematic scientific research laboratories. Within these ancient labs, sages studied what they called mantra vidya, the rigorous science of sound. They conducted deep, structured research to discover which specific word clusters, pronounced in exact ways by specific people holding precise physical postures, would produce measurable physical results out in the real world.
Impartially reporting the text's truly extraordinary claims, these ancient researchers allegedly developed specific ragas, which are basically precise sonic frequencies that could directly manipulate the physical environment. For example, the source cites the Deepak rag, a specific sound structure which reportedly generated enough physical energy to ignite a lamp that had gone out. Conversely, it mentions Megh Malhar, which was another frequency supposedly designed to manipulate atmospheric conditions to summon rain right out of a completely dry sky.
All right, Section 4, Eternal Space Words and their Cosmic Lifespan.
Let's look at how this builds into an absolutely incredible cosmic theory regarding the lifespan of a spoken word. The text outlines a mind-bending journey for every single word you speak. It argues that a word, produced by the physical mechanics of your mouth and tongue, doesn't just disappear into thin air. Within milliseconds, it travels across countries. Within minutes, it hits the moon. Give it a few hours, and it crosses our entire solar system. And from there, it just travels out into the ether, echoing endlessly through our Milky Way, a spiral galaxy containing, as the text points out, some 25 crore, or 250 million suns. Because the universe is just so impossibly vast,
That physical energy of your spoken word just keeps traveling, essentially lasting for eternity. So the crucial takeaway here is that sound never truly dies. Because of this, the source suggests an amazing possibility. Since those ancient words are still physically bouncing around somewhere in the vastness of space, future physics might actually develop technology sensitive enough to catch them and listen to historical events. The text specifically theorizes that one day we might possess acoustic technology to literally hear the sounds of the ancient Mahabharata war, or listen firsthand to the recitation of the Bhagavad Gita simply by capturing the sound waves that are still out there echoing in the cosmos. It's an absolutely fascinating concept, right?
Now for Section 5, Sonic Tech and Weapons and the Recoil of Words.
We've talked a lot about where the sound goes, but what actually happens to the speaker? The text uses a really visceral, brilliant analogy to explain this. Speaking a word is exactly like firing a gun. When you pull the trigger, the bullet, which represents the external energy of your word, shoots outward into the world and out into the cosmos. But just like firing a powerful rifle, there is a massive recoil. The internal impact of that word's energy recoils forcefully right back into your own body, striking your own nervous system. The text insists that words don't just affect the external world. Their physical energy deeply physically impacts the biological and mental state of the person speaking them.
To prove that sound can be harnessed as a physical mechanical control mechanism, the author points to a historic 1923 science exhibition in Berlin. Long before our modern smart devices and voice assistants were a thing, German scientists demonstrated complex machinery controlled entirely by sound waves and radio frequencies. This exhibition featured voice-activated trains that would start, speed up, and stop based purely on spoken commands. Even more amazingly, they showcased human-like robots that could march, sit, and even aim and fire guns, all dictated by the specific frequencies of the human voice. The explainer then connects that 1920s German technology directly back to ancient Indian scriptures. The source claims that the ancients used mantra shakti, the raw power of sound, to power devastating weaponry. It lists the Brahmastra, the fire-generating Agniastra, the water-summoning Varunastra, the paralyzing Nagpash, and the remote-targeting Kricha. The text asserts that these sound-powered weapons were actually far superior to modern ballistics or gas shells, using targeted vocal frequencies to trigger massive physical destruction.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, the lost legacy of this forgotten science.
The source material actually ends on a somewhat tragic note of lament. It argues that humanity has pretty much entirely forgotten this glorious, rigorous science of mantra shakti. We've lost the understanding of sound as a physical tool for healing, for creation, and for power. The text compares modern humanity to a mythic snake that has lost its magical glowing jewel. We are left degraded, walking around completely unaware of the immense world-altering power residing right inside our own mouths.
So I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought from the source material to reflect on. It suggests that every single time we speak, we are wielding an ancient force that can heal a body, control a machine, or echo endlessly across 25 million suns. If every word you speak fires a cosmic bullet and triggers an internal recoil, shaping both the universe and your own biology, how are you going to use your sound today?